take it all apart, clean it all out, and then put it all back together, and then it would run again fine. It might have been that this thing wasn't running just because I couldn't get the choke to choke out right, because I slide into there a little bit. Oops. And then other than that, yeah, that, and then just a bit. Well, we're back. A guy's gone ahead and made an executive decision. You gotta have a hat on like this with that frame on it, of course, when you do that. We talked about that. Oh, you know, you work a whole lifetime to get a good hat like that. Anyway, the decision has been made and the parts have been ordered. But that Honda lawnmower that I have is, well, let's see, 21 years old. She's in her 21st season here now. I had one like that at the other house too that we had for 14 years. When I brought that one over here, I hit, well, there was a rod sticking up over there in the air. There was a box, electrical box. I hit that rod and bent the shaft. Oh, toasted that motor. So, I had to get a new one. But anyway, not so new anymore, but that carburetor in there. You know, she's been given some trouble with idling. You can't really get it to idle, or when I try to get it to idle, it would surge, you know, and boy, then it would die. And that's usually a sign of things getting kind of plugged up, mucked up in there, you know. So I thought, well, you know, I'll throw through some, I had some, what do you call it, that, oh, the stuff you put in your gasoline that's supposed to clean your carburetor out. So I tossed some of that in there. I kind of half wonder if whether or not, though, that maybe got loosened up some stuff and made it get a little more clogged up than what it was before. Because now she'll only run, you got to have her wide open kind of, and is she, yeah, you know. So anyway, I thought, well, why not? Let's just go on ahead and we'll grab a new, well, I thought I was just going to do a carburetor replacement kit, but that's not what you do really on these guys. Because with these guys here, the carburetor itself, to buy it as a new carburetor, is only in a like $20 range on Amazon. Well, that should be all right. It's compatible with my mower. It's got it right in there, you know. So, but looking forward to that, and we'll do that. Well, I got it here, as a matter of fact. And it's come with, you know, the parts have come with, or the pieces come with some different parts and stuff too, but there you are. That's just what it is there, a new carburetor. Well, we got some other stuff to go along with it too, and we'll go through some of that stuff here, but that's what our project is before we mow again here. I'd like to have that new carburetor on there and see if we get the mower to start. I always shied away from some of this stuff in the past. I mean, I do the oil changes or take the spark plug out, clean it up, you know, minor things like that, not a big deal. But taking off the carburetor, oh shoot, now we get the linkages, things, you know, there's two of them on this one that you got to horse around with when you take it off and put it back on. One goes on this thing and one goes on that. But we'll get that, that's okay. And that's got some new gaskets that we'll be using, putting on. That's good. New, you know, that's a good thing right there. They sent along a new gas line. And I can't see why you wouldn't do that, you know. I don't know what this thing is. I'm sure we'll figure it out. It'll come up. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. Here's another little piece here too. I guess we are kind of going through this. Now they did send a spark plug along with it. This is a BPR 6E. Well, Savior something or another. You know, I just went on ahead and ordered a new spark plug that is like exactly that one that was in there from when I bought it. Oh, that's another thing. That spark plug is about 20 years old. So we're doing a little tune-up on the old motor. And then this will be one of those things. So let's get this spark plug out here. These guys usually come gapped, you know, where you want them. so you don't have to mess with that as a rule. I usually check it, but it's always right there. So there you are. This will be our, and that's a Honda, what you call it? Spark plug. So that's a good thing. And there it is. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, NGKR. This is it. That's exactly the one that's on there. It got a little dark here. These lights turn on when there's movement over here. So it gets a little dark after a little while. They hang on for a while, but you got to move. So anyway, we've got a new spark plug to go along with that as well. We got a mess up here. So I knew I was going to have to clean this up here a little bit before we could get started, but I thought, let's just jump right into that and talk about this. By the way, probably the reason why I'm willing to dive into this at all. First of all, back in the, late 60s, early 70s, I had a little 850 Spider Fiat coupe thing, little tiny motor in it. Well, that's 4-cylinder probably. Had a little cheap carburetor on it. I used to drive that, that was back when I worked out on the farm. So I would drive that back and forth from town to the farm and back, and it was dusty, and about every other month I'd have to take that carburetor out of there and take it all apart, clean it all out, and I'd put it all back together, and then it would run again fine. So I've had some experience with that, but that was a long, long time ago. I haven't ever done anything new, in a mower or anything like that, so this will be a new experience for us here. Let me get rid of this here. Recycle this week. So, always kind of shied away from the carburetor stuff, though. It seemed like it had too much stuff going on. But now, I watch a lot of YouTube. Yeah. And I like to watch motor stuff, or, motorheads, grease monkeys, what do you want to call them? We used to call them grease monkeys back in the day. I kind of like it all, too, but there's one, Joe at 2 Vintage, it's called. Just the numero 2, and then Vintage. Maybe you already watch him, but he's really good, boy. Takes apart those motorcycle motors and other smaller engines like that, and it's like going to school. The guy really knows his stuff. He gets everything to run it, so you just don't bump into him losing. He gets them all to run. So he's really, really good. And then another guy named Bearded Mechanic, I watch his show. Point being is that I watch enough of that now where I kind of think, you know what? These motors really are not that tough to work on necessarily, as long as you got something that you can watch. And sure enough, on YouTube, you can watch some guy take this on and off a dozen times or more. So there's plenty of, plenty of preparation you can do to watch this whole process. So shouldn't be really any excuse, you know what I'm saying? I think we can get her. So that's coming up. That's what's on this video. They're kind and sent along a new air filter. I haven't put one of those in there either. I've got an old one, but as long as we've got a new one, we'll throw that in there. So that's that. I haven't figured out yet what that little sponge is for there. But, and they don't give you any kind of a thing that says, here's what all this is. So, but we'll figure that out. We'll do a little research. Artificial intelligence, I'm telling you, AI. I've said it before, if you aren't using it, start. It's really incredible. Hardly anything you can't learn. Well, I can learn that thing don't want to sit that way. All right, I got her. So this spark plug we're not going to use. A couple of gaskets. That's the bigger one that goes up against the head. Okay, we're in some kind of good shape here. Now we need to get the lawnmower over here. And I'm thinking we might. Now we got to kind of strategize here a little bit. I mowed the front yard yesterday. Day before. Yesterday rained all day. I didn't mow the backyard. Backyard's starting to look like a jungle a little bit. If I disable the mower now by taking off the carburetor, which I'm going to do, then I'm locked in until I get that baby running again, hoping to get her all done in a shot, But otherwise, maybe a guy ought to mow that backyard quick. I can get it running. It just takes a little bit to get it running. And then get that out of the way. And then I'd like, if I had to have another day. Why, I don't know, but if I did, I would be able to. May not be a bad idea. So anyway, I think we'll probably head that route. Well, we're back. I said we'd be back. It's been a couple of days, though. You know, things happen. I did get the mowing done, though. And now it's about ready to go again, and I got to get this carburetor changed. So we're going to give it a whirl. You know, my advice, don't do what I do, by the way. I'm going to show you, but don't do what I do. Here you can see I got the handy Andy Sketchy Lift 2000 here. Take away one of these barrels and you got the 1000, a little sketchier. And then, of course, you want to get certified for this. You got to have that certificate of certification certificate from the Department of Redundancy Department in order to really work that. Anyway, we got her up a little ways off the ground here, a little better to work with. Got a stool that is not the most comfortable thing to sit on. It's pretty hard wood. Anyway, I watched a couple of videos, YouTube. One guy in particular, he seemed to have this thing down pretty good. This does not seem like a big ask. But I can only believe that there's maybe a couple of possible outcomes here. Of course, the one that we really want to have is that we pull that rope and she starts up like a dream, you know, and plays beautiful music. And if we don't do that, then the second thing that's possible is that we're going to have to figure out what, if anything, needs adjusting or what did we do wrong. But it seems like it's pretty straightforward. And if none of that works, and it still ain't working, I mean, then we're talking about taking it in or something, then we're giving in, you know. Then it's the walk of shame into the repair guy. Yeah, you can see I got a new carb on there. I gave it a whirl. That's a walk of shame thing. And we don't want to have that. We don't want to have that. So let's see what we can do about getting this baby fixed up here and getting her working. All right, so a couple of things. I got to have a slurp of coffee before we start up. I'm going to put on some safety glasses because I can see better with them on too. So, you know, you got a couple of things there. But we got to get this off right here, which is cover for the air filter. The air filter. They sent us a new one, which we're going to be installing. So we can just kind of chuck that one off to the side for the time being. That would be all right just to put back on like that, I imagine. Like, it's not like we're detailing the lawnmower here. We're just going for the new carb. But a little bit of dark around the sides here. Not too bad. 10 millimeter. We got two of those to take off here. Here we go. This is where you start to get into that area where, I mean, I do a lot of, like I was saying before, I do a lot of monkeying around with this stuff, but it's starting to get in there now where you feel like if you horse it up or something, geez, you know, got linkages and stuff. Well, let's see what happens. This is a real long bolt, both of these two. I want to watch closely to see there's a number of items that are going to kind of drop out of here in a way. Now, the other thing that we want to do I think I have to wait until we get in there, but I am going to shut off the gas. We'll probably get a little bit of it that's going to leak down, but shouldn't be too bad. The video that I watched, a guy pinched it off with a hose.
got to get this off so we can see what we're doing in there. Alright, so now this is interesting. The one I watch on YouTube had just the 2 screws here, but I see we have a third one involved here. See, right there. Throwing more at a guy. What's this going to be about? That's a different color. I better look down in here a little bit if I can. See what we're connected to and what we're doing and why we are. I gotta fly. It's summertime, garage. I'm gonna fly. I keep the doors open, let the breeze in and out. You get the flies. All right, well, there's a screw that we want to keep track of. I'll just kind of put there. And that just seems to be not really attached to anything other than just that. All right. We got 2 screws coming out. That thing was stuck into there. We may have to do a little cleaning in here, I can see. Well, this will be pretty good. I was looking at the gaskets. I can already see a number of things here. You know, they send along stuff that goes with a number of different setups. And that's true in this case as well. Okay, I have the first screw out. And the second one is about out. Here we go. And the second one is out. It's a little collar that rides on them. Looks like a spacer. Each of those has one. Boy, that's a little gooky in there. Right on my garage carpet. It's so clean. I can tell we're going to need to do a little cleanup on aisle 9 here. Just wanted to study to see for sure. I'm going to go and grab the new carburetor so that I can make that kind of a connection. The new one. I'll see if I can keep from falling off here. Well, that looks exactly like the other one, so that should be all right. And gas there, okay. All right. This is so dirty in here, my goodness. Yuck. This should be a gasket right here that we're going to replace. Looks like it's kind of become one with that. It has, but we'll get it off. There we go. Excuse me. It's coming. Well, it's still on one piece. Actually, I want to make sure that I've got the exact one for that, and bingo. We do. We have the exact one. So that's going to be the first thing on the outside here. Replacing this one. Okay. Jesus, dirty. Just throw stuff on the floor over here, and I got a wastebasket. Well, you know, things happen. So we need to get these things released here off of the choke and off of the throttle. So that's always a little tricky. And putting them back on as well.
Alright, so we're going to be in that one there, and I only see one over there. There it is. And that stands up straight, and there goes up against that new piece that's sitting up there. Bent side goes in. That piece just came off of the back side of this carburetor. I have that. As a matter of fact, there's two of them, one on both sides. I have those. We're going to get these old ones cleaned up off of here, put the new ones in there, clean up the areas that they engage in. But now we'll have an easier time to get these things unhooked here, but I need to, now I can get hold of the little clamp here. So I can get the gas line off. Hang on here, we got that. We're gonna need a new nose on that. That'll be about the last drawer I look in. Here it is. That one looks pretty good. That's a smaller one, might be better. Maybe. Take a look at that. Another one. Yeah, no time to review the tools. We have work to do. Okay. Oh yeah, she's got one of these little things that are little clamp thing here. Those are supposed to move. Oh yeah, this will work. We just need to get it off a little ways here. Perfect. They sent a whole new hose too, so I'm guessing we're just going to go ahead and do it all. Need a screwdriver. Forgot a screwdriver. This one, sure. Craftsman. Good old Craftsman. Whatever happened. Well, I think we know what happened, but too bad. Jeez. Alright. Gas hose is coming off. Been on there for 20 years, plus. The guy that I was watching preferred to take these off this way. I think pulling on it is probably harder to convince it to come along, maybe. I don't know. Because she's on there pretty good. There, spun around, so that's a good sign. She might be pretty loose now. Yep, she's free. Barely any gas dripping out, so that's good. I don't know if I'll use that same hose or not. I'll have to look, see if that other hose might not be that long. So that's a thing.
I'll tell you, these are just identical. Okay, that's where we're at. Now I think we can get these off a lot easier. These, whatever they call them, but this is going to be a devil, I know, to get these off. I'm guessing that there's probably some simple, easy thing to do that gets those to walk right on out of there. This one's coming. Got a little tiny spring there too. You know what, I think I have to release that spring first. I don't think it's holding that much, but it could be a little. It's the spring that pulls it back. Okay, we got that loose. It's just going to sit around there. I wonder if we use this to coax this thing out of here. That might not be a bad idea. Sure enough. That one's out, and the other one came out on its own. Decided it had enough. There it is. Look how nasty, dirty that thing is. Wow. Jeez, 20 years worth of you know what. Well, all right. Whew. That's a mess in there. You need to get some stuff around here. First off, we got those two gaskets. That one that came out the front side. We've got this other thing to replace as well. Double check, make sure that matches up. Looks like it will. A little different. That'll probably work though. Matches up that way. It's got to go in that way. All right, so we can do that. So let's see what's behind door number one here. Oh, that just came right off of there, so good enough. A little bit of oil in there. All right, so I feel like I know what I'm doing. Got to get her cleaned up. We got some carb cleaner up here. We get started with some of that. And where's it? Carb cleaner, there it is. All right. I think I got some brake cleaner too, but it will work with the carb cleaner. Yeah. And I may have to borrow the little red thing out of the WD-40 because there's not one. Well, maybe they don't share us. They may not share the same size of orifice for this, and apparently they do not. So there's a proprietary size on that. WD-40's little red thing is a different size. That's all right. This will work. There's some of that. We get some of these towels here. Better have a sip of coffee. Yeah, it's going to take a minute. All right, back down. Here we are. I'm going to try to just kind of see how much I can get off just by kind of rubbing it off first, I guess. Boy. Yeah. Boy, that fuel line looks terrible. Boy, I sure don't want to lose that up in there. Like that to stay where it is if possible. Now, one thing about the sketchy Lift 2000 here is that, you know, you gotta kind of move yourself around a little bit. Be handy if you had a little button, you know, it's just spinning around. No, you're gonna have to work her out here. Well, there are some big pieces in there. Okay, the big question is, get this new one on here, will it start? I don't know. I never bet, but I'm thinking there's some parlay stuff here. I'm just thinking, you know. Does a spark plug cause it? You know, there's a lot of different things here that I could kind of get more specific about. Let's see. Okay, did I use up all those? Oh, they're behind me. Okay, now we're going to use a little cleaner in here. See if we can't make a better surface here for the new gaskets. I like them to sit kind of nice on there, like they're on something new. We better get a little more cleaner on that. Where'd she go? There it is. Pew. That's some nasty stuff. I see the old shaky Lift 2000 here is kind of sketchy lift, that's what it is. What's a shaky lift too, but that's a cousin, twin cousin. Yeah, sketchy Lift 2000. I was saying in the other video, in the other section earlier too, that I've been naming some of the places that I watch, you know, for some of this fun information, failing to mention the best one that I watch, the one that's the most fun, and that is, drum roll, Vice Grip Garage with Derek over there and his lovely wife and kids. Really nice show. And he knows a lot about motors, I'm telling you. Man, it's like going to school. All right, so now I'm feeling pretty good about this. I gotta work on this piece here now, I see. Oh, don't throw away the new piece. All right, so that's the first piece that's going to be on. I want to look at that once real quick. That's how she's going. Right like that. Now, let's see. Actually, I don't think I got to go too far here to get the next thing I need. It's like in a drawer. It should be right in a drawer here. There it is. This whole gasket is, I can tell you this thing is hard to sit on. Whew. It is not good. Oh, see now that gasket's coming off pretty easy there. I thought that was going to need more scraping, but it did not. Same with this one here is going to come off all right too. Perfect. All right. We've got that. This is going to need a little bit more on this side. Will she start? Get that cleaned up on there. I don't want to bother to clean up everything. Hey, you get started cleaning, you know. I have to remind myself, you know, we're not detailing or anything. We're just trying to get this functional, operational. I feel a little something on there. I got this. Ew. Little razor blade action here. I think we got it. Give her another spray down. Phew. One of the guys I watched on the video that changed one of these to show you. It's 5 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Of course, he probably didn't say that he does 1 or 2 a day, you know, for the last 10 years. All right, that's pretty good. That's going to do her. When we go to build our carburetor sandwich back here. Yeah, get that big foot over there. Yeah. Now, these items are just going to pile in here. I saw somebody online too is using chopsticks to hold all this in place. Might not be a bad idea. And interesting. Because there's just a whole line of things. But I'll show you what the guy in the video did. He used the tune bolts on there and kind of threaded everything onto that, basically. But that's how that's got to go in there. And that's all cleaned up and nice. That should be fine. Scoop that old one down in there. All right, so just let that sit there for a second or two. And let's see, what else we got to look at? We got this piece cleaned up here. I don't know. I think we're about ready to try to assemble. We got cleaned up what we needed to get cleaned up, really. That guy, when he put his on, he really suggested putting on the gas line first. I think we'll just go with the gas line that's on here, rather than trying to change that out. Get that clamp back up there. That sounds really good. All right. Now, the next thing is assembling these gadgets. It's going to be fun to see which one wants to go in first and that kind of thing. I know that guy had this gas line on. I'm going to take it off. I think I'd be much easier to get these other things on there if I didn't have this gas line on. We're pulling that back off. Great. Just put all that new stuff right down into the garbage. Should be able to sort that out. One of them. Two of them. And the last one. All right. Now, let's get these other things hooked up here. See what we can do. This baby's got to sit in there like this. And this has got to go into there. Like that. Oh boy, I got that. Aha! Well, I'm kind of full of myself now. But hang on. There's the other one as well, for gas sakes. And then the spring. I need to put the spring back on. Spring is on. Wow. That's it, folks. We got her back together this far. That was actually one of my bigger headaches right there, so that worked out. Now the next thing is turning the lights back on. Everything just shut off on me. Got a little dark around me. Okay, we can let this sit here for just a second. Take a momentary time out. Warm up the coffee. Then we'll go for the final home stretch here. Looks like we should be able to get them on. And then we'll start. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it would really make my year motor-wise if it did. If we have to take the walk of shame, I ain't good. We're going to put a new plug in, though, too. Remember, we got the Honda new plug up there, so. Oh, boy. So, yeah. Hang on for that. We'll be back real soon here. Found it. Ugh. See if I can land in here without dying. The thing had slipped down into there, and there it was. Got her on there now on the backside. So we're ready to continue threading these things together. And hopefully we'll be able to get a little hear it start. Well, I got to get that other hose onto there too, so that'll be a little bit of a trick, I see. I wonder how the heck we did that. Well, that's going to be a challenge. Almost have to have those hooked up in order to put that hose on there. So that's what we're going to have to do. Thread these through. Okay. Got that now. It's kind of like this. And then one over here like this. They gotta match, you know? What's a couple of gaskets if they don't match? Well, you can see how it's kind of a pain to thread these things and get them just right, but you can. Oh, But don't pull your bolts out of there. Try to keep them in. Okay, let's see here. There we go. You know, I think I'm just going to go one at a time here. And this plastic thing is really in the way. I don't mind saying. Okay, I got one gasket on there. This metal shield is on there. And so is the other gasket. Wow. Beautiful. I know that they were doing some, oops, okay, so that was a try. We'll have to restart here a little bit. We lost a couple of our gaskets. Okay, that's all right. We're learning as we go here. This plastic case, not a lot you can do with it. It's got to be there, but boy, it sure is not lend any hands in getting this together here. All right, I got a couple of hands going again now. Let me get this out of there. Oops. And this then again goes like that. That means these holes go in like this. Mm-hmm. Okay, our carburetor sandwich appears to be together again. Wasn't quite what I had in mind there. Well, let's see here. Oh boy. I wonder that'll stay for a second. Don't move. Don't want it to thread in the wrong way. There she goes. No. I think it should. Maybe she threads a little tight. I guess it does. Well, with any luck here, oh, mercy sakes, I got this thing all goofed up.
This thing is rotten to the core. What happened with you? I guess it makes sense to drive this unsymmetrically, which I am trying to do here. I wonder if this is a good time for me to cut that one hose back there yet. This is wild. That carburetor just sits there. Alright. Snug these up. I don't want any air trying to sneak in on those. Oh yeah, now that carburetor is like sealed down there real good. Alright. We're getting close. I have to put in a new spark plug yet. Remember to turn the gas on. This I remember looked okay. Clean air filter. Spark plug's next. Here's the new plug. We're going to assume that it's gapped right, because that's what you do. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gapped right. Oops, that looks like. I think it's this one. Nope. I thought that was the one. Oh, I think. Got it. It'd be this one. These things have a mile-long threads. There it is. We're just going to go on ahead and ditch that one. Put this new one right on in there. Name these spark plugs. We'll call them Sparky. And they get them Sparky in there. We gotta get this flipped around here. Yeah, that's about tight enough right there. Yep, okay. All right, folks. We are there. Huh. I'm going to turn the gas on. First, I gotta see. Oh yeah, that's working. Nice. That's really the only thing we had to worry about there. Turn that gas on. Probably should be filling that bowl. We're hoping. I don't see any leaks. No leaks is good. Yep. What do we got for fuel? We better add a little. We don't want to have that be the problem. You might have heard me refer to Handy Andy earlier. You know, with the sketchy lift, 2000. That was a character back in the day in the 60s when I was in school, high school. Took shop. In shop, if you were using your tools incorrectly, then you were a Handy Andy. You don't want to be that. And when you use tools for other than their intention. Of course, who would do that? Come on. That's insane. Handy Andy. I don't know if anybody's had that experience calling him that. All right, there we go. Excuse me. Well, I'm going to get some help getting this off of the Sketchy Lift 2000. It's an older model. I'm sure they got some newer ones, better ones now. But and then when I get that help and get it down, then we'll come back to you. And I won't try to start it without you. We'll see what happens. See how to go, but we'll see. All right. We got her off of the lift. Question is, will she start? Jeez. I really don't know the answer to that. Let's see what it sounds like. We'll draw some gas up in there. There she runs. I'm going to run her a little bit here just to kind of get it worked in a little bit. Get a different pair of shoes for that. Alright. It's got a little surging sound there. We'll have to see what we can do about that. It's kind of common with these things apparently. So anyway, hang on while we do that real quick. Everybody. She does work pretty good. surging thing. Look at that. There it is. All right, so that's it. She started. Took a little bit. So we got to do something about that. But it's always done that. Those little motors are notorious for that. But I do see some information online about that, so we'll have to see. There's one guy that had a YouTube thing. I didn't watch it yet, but he swears he can fix that up. So we'll see. And then other than that, yeah, that and then just a little better start. I took it in one time to a guy that really knew them all, and then he came back at me and he said, make sure to have that throttle all the way down to engage your choke. Well, I did that after he worked on it, and boy, that made it start right away every time. And now, I wonder if he had it set. I don't know how he had it set because it doesn't do that now. But anyway, we'll have to work on that and see what we do. So that's going to do it for this one. That's about all I got for you tonight, so we'll say goodbye, and I'll see you the next time. Have a good one.